Welcome, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm Dudink. I work for Denodo. I will explain in a minute what Denodo is and what we do. And my title is Systems Engineer, which basically means I do the technical work at Denodo. So ask me any questions, I'll try to answer them. That makes it also very interesting. My presentation is more around modern data integration. So what does the node do and how does that reflect modern data and modern types of data integration and also the path to generated AI. What I want to do is to show you the products first. But of course, I need to explain a bit what we're doing and where we come from. So first of all, who's the node? Who are we and what do we do? The company was actually founded in 1999. So next year we celebrate our 21st anniversary. Not as young as some of our colleagues over here. But the idea was is very fascinating. It was 1999, and back then already, it's a Spanish company from origin. The statistics professor of A Coruña University said, or had a thought or an idea is it really necessary to move all your data into a central location, data integration, before we can start to use it? And funny enough, it's still what we do nowadays a lot. So we still require to put a lot of your data on either one of the cloud platforms. Well, in this time, we do see there's a lot of data on-prem. It's been moved to cloud, but probably not everything. And some companies are already at a phase where they have multiple clouds. So how do you deal with that? Well, that was the foundational thought. And there's still a lot of people within the company who are Spanish from A Coruña area. And they still work in a technical role. But in the meantime, the company, of course, has moved to the US for investment reasons, to get more for investments. It's part of the Silicon Valley community at the moment. So and we have offices around the world, and I'm part of the Dutch office. And I'm happy to show you what the Denodo is and what it does. So that was the fundamental idea of can we do data integration in a different way? And we did that. We do that by preferring to connect instead of collecting. Now, let's go into our platform. Just to explain a little bit more. In a minute, I will show you or demonstrate you how to connect, for example, to ClickHouse, because on the bottom layer that says the node is here at the middle layer, and then the bottom layer is everything that we connect to. So it might be that you're in a situation that you're moving to ClickHouse, you put a lot of your data into ClickHouse. What we also see a lot is that maybe not all of your data can be stored into ClickHouse. And how long does it take for all that data to end up? I mean, in real life situations, I don't know how it went for you, but sometimes we see organizations that take actually years to reach their target and the platform. So what do you do in the meantime? I think Denodo is an interesting idea, connecting more to the different data sources. Exposing that here in the middle layer would be a logical semantical layer. And the fact that it's a semantical layer, we see that more often. I think the smart bit of what Denodo does is much more that query optimization, because if you combine data, you connect to it, you have your metadata definitions here in the middle. But then at some point you need to run that query. So the query optimization is, I think, across all those different data sources, there's another 150, but it could be a lot more. Some of those data connectors are, of course, more technology based. So, it could connect to any sort of data sheets. So that's the middle layer. I think the key component is that query optimization. I'll hopefully show you a little bit what it does. You don't to go into a lot of detail. But otherwise, it's quite easy to use. And since this middle layer is actually a semantic model, it's also a very nice place to, for example, set all your privileges. So what user or what role gets access to what. So that's also a very nice use case to say, okay, we have this centralized layer against the different data sources. And why not set up security within that centralized layer? Now, and if we put a lot of logic in the middle layer, it's just metadata, what we do here in the middle. Then, of course, on top, you can expose it in multiple ways. It's either through one of the BI tools. Well, I think we're all familiar with the idea that if you use one BI tool, it might be that the other BI tool is actually generating different results. Why? Because the logic is different in those tools. So that's the whole idea of a centralized layer. Having one centralized logic allows you to have different BI tools and same results. And of course, we have our data science tools on the right-hand side. And of course, these are different applications that we do. Everything that we build within the platform can also be exposed as a data service. So that's what we see as here, and it's on the right-hand side. And what we also provide nowadays is a SDK for AI. That means what we did here is we built a Denodo chatbot. The point was not to build a chatbot, but just to show you that AI integration. And what I'll show at the end is you can ask a question to the chatbot, and it will go through the LLM, and of course, it will give a normal answer, as you would expect from any OpenAI request that you do. But the interesting thing is that it connects to all the data in your organization. So you can ask it any question, and some of the data will return from within your organization. So that we, opens it up for very interesting use cases as well. Now, that roughly is the platform. Let me show you very quickly what we would do. Now I need to put off my glasses or by the Let's go in here. Everything is web-based. So if you want to deploy Denodo on-prem, if you want to deploy it on cloud or on Kubernetes platform, all of those are of course possible. All of the development is done through something called Design Studio. So this is our development environment. Of course, it's logged out at the moment because I have long logged in. And I just wanted to show you a very simple principle. So what do I need to do within the Denodo platform? First of all, to connect to the first data source. And what I did here is, let's look at the left-hand side. So what we see here are the different virtual databases. So they're not persistent data. It's all metadata. It's a description of different databases. Within the Denodo platform, I have quite a few for obvious reasons. I want to go through one of the examples. Let's go for ClickHouse. And typically what you do is within this folder structure, you start to organize your work. So you can just create a new folder and then, for example, work with connectivity, integration, business entities. So connectivity would, for example, be everything where you would be connected to. In this case, I would start to create, let's say, a new data source, and it allows me to select one of those 150 different data sources. Let me close this up. I'm running ClickHouse here locally on my Docker container. I run this test. It does this successfully. Everything is graphical. You click on base use. Now are going to introspect the tables that are present in the ClickHouse environment. So we will see the tables there, and then just the metadata, the table descriptions into the Denodo platform. For now, I will just stop this because it will return. I have done this already. So what I did is actually I loaded up the RDW data set. So if you buy a car, your car will be registered with a license plate. We run this, we'll see all the data that ends up in here. So everything is metadata. So if when I run execute, it will actually go to ClickHouse, return the results, and show them here. We know it's pretty quick, so we saw the results here rather quickly. And we do have a license plate here. We got some more details. What I also did is just to show you the principle of that. Maybe it might be that some of your data is again not in ClickHouse. So what I did is actually connected to one of the REST endpoints and ended up loading that data. And I was particularly interested in the high emissions vehicles. So which one of those vehicles actually has a high emission, so very high levels of CO2. And if you execute this, we'll see these license plates, and you can only retrieve that information based on the license plate. You would maybe think, okay, it's the type of car that actually has a high emission. No, they only register the license plates. So, and this data I actually stored in SQL Server. And the only reason why I did this is to show you that you can combine the two and how you would do that from within this platform. Now, the things that the Denodo likes to know is, of course, for example, our statistics, because I said it was more of a query optimizer. So this sort of information is key for the node to work properly. How many rows were in that table? In this case, 3,000. And we take a look at the RDW table options, statistics, or there's quite a few in here. What do you want? It's not in the billions, but still, and it's running on my small laptop, right? Not 48, of course. So, okay, so we already saw how simple it is just to connect to the different environments and to show some of the data. And now it starts to get interesting because what I want to do, and I did that already, but what I want to do is actually my vehicle registrations. In this case, I only created it for January, so for this year. Otherwise, we're getting 45 million records. And we know we need to join that with that SQL Server table. Just to show you the idea is that I will take this table, and I wonder what to do, create a new job. It understands that actually there is a relationship, so I can drag it from here, pull it down, and it automatically creates my joiner. So basically what I'm doing is creating joins. I could save it, but again, just to show you the principle, how it is done. Yep. And in this case, this is exactly the same thing as what I did in minutes, so it's rather quick to do. And I can run this query, execute it again, and then we can briefly have a look, for example, at the execution trace. So we do see what these are the cars, and now suddenly we see this CO2 emissions. That CO2 emission part is actually coming from a SQL Server table. Again, the only thing I'm trying to show you here, it's brilliant the whole data is in ClickHouse, but if you need to somehow combine it with something else that is not automatically available from the ClickHouse environment, you can do that in such a way. So some of the directory, this case, you can see precisely which table it came from. This is my emission, so this is a SQL Server table. You see complete lineage. You see the same for the live display information. It's done on an inner join. We see some details about that, how it's done. So it's using this as a hash join. And I didn't need to specify how we're joining. How I'm joining this. That is precisely what Denodo adds. It looks at all the statistics, looks at the table, looks at the indexes, and generates the proper way of combining this data. Now, it might be that you still want the influencers. Of course, this is transparent, so we precisely show you how this is done. And then you can also influence what's going on. So where we go, for example, on the edit, brought you the joint. We don't agree with the hash join, but I want to do it nested. It's not a smart way, but let me just, if I'm interested in what the query plan does, I can immediately show you and click on join that now in this case choosing a message join. But I'm forcing it in this case to do that message. Right. I don't want to show, well, I want to show you a lot more here, but I don't want to spend more time on what you can do within the Visual Studio environment. The last bit actually that I want to show is, okay, now what if we put this chatbot on top? And for this specific case, what I did is I created this virtual database with the chatbot. It has some information about bank loans, but it also has information about the vehicle emissions. So it only knows about the high emissions, and it also knows about the vehicle registrations. But it doesn't have this joint view that I created in just a moment ago. So what I wanted to do, and I'll try, I can do this live, but it wasn't particularly quick. And otherwise I'll just show you what happens. So let me get some of the prompts. And then again, the chatbot itself, how that was made, that's open source, is more what's going on behind the scenes. So the chatbot analyzes, of course, my question. In this case, we know it is just a question about vehicle registrations for a specific day. So the other thing it needs to do is to translate this question into, a SQL-like query. It figures out that actually this is a question that can be answered with data that's hosted in my virtual database. And it will tell me just 5 of the records, 5 of the details about specific licenses that were registered on this day. Now, it's also interesting what happens if I don't ask something from a specific table, because that is what we can see here. So the results were returned from just this one table. I genuinely clean saw a minute ago. What happens if we ask for it to give me 5 registrations with high emissions? So what it needs to do here is on a fairly low level, and even though it's one day, there's still quite a few data, quite quite a few data coming out of this. It needs to understand that these tables can actually be joined and how it can be joined, and we will see in a minute. You can also see what the SQL ends up to be in this case. And it will combine the vehicle registration information with the amount of CO2 emissions it will generate. And of course, there are a couple of Bentleys registered on this stage, or an F1 Raptor. I don't know what you prefer, an Ford or a Bentley. I think I will go with a Bentley. But even just a Volkswagen is still quite high with 361 kilograms, is it? Or kilograms? I don't know exactly what that. So if you want to understand what the query is that is within Denodo, and again, that runs rather quickly, takes a minute to understand, or if you want to create a table out of this, that's done automatically here. And as a last step, I just wanted to show you guys. We want to ask people to be a bit more responsible. So these people that actually drive high emission vehicles, maybe they would, think about the Earth. And the only reason I'm doing this is just to show you it's not only a direct connection against the data, but it is against its large language model. So you combine it with whatever, and it will automatically generate friendly or not so friendly email. And so the fascinating thing about this, the whole interaction with data is changing. You can ask questions in a natural language and get this data and get the answers. So that was it, really, for me. The only thing I wanted to say furthermore is thank you very much. If you liked it and want to know more about Denodo, of course, there are free versions to download, or you can just ask me or just link me on LinkedIn, and we're more than happy to explain what we can do in combination with ClickHouse. Thank you very much. And